Welcome to ZipRecruiter Resume Training. When it comes to looking for a job, the resume is one of the most important tools you have. So it's key to ensure that your resume is the best it can be. Why? Because about 80% of resumes are rejected in just 11 seconds, and you want to make sure yours isn't passed over. In the next few minutes, you will learn how to draft an effective and attention-grabbing resume. Let's get started. We'll start by outlining how to make your resume clear, concise, and well-organized. Since most job hunting is done online, it's likely that your resume will be viewed and screened by two audiences, humans and smart technology. Smart technology is known for parsing, a feature that enables online job boards, employers, and recruiters to quickly filter resumes for key job qualifications. So it's important to optimize your resume for both people and parsing. Let's talk about length first. For an internship, entry-level, or middle management position, like a supervisor or manager, your resume should be no more than 1 page long. If you're applying for an upper management position, such as director or vice president, aim for 2 pages or less. Other important considerations are font style, font size, font color, and consistency. Stick to the following standard fonts: Arial, Helvetica, Times New Roman, Calibri, Cambria, Garamond, Serif, or sans serif. Font size should be 10 to 12 points. Font color should be black, and overall font should be consistent throughout your resume. Other things to keep in mind. Headers should be used to distinguish each section of your resume. Bullet points should be used to organize your responsibilities and achievements. Only use black ink on a white background. Proofread and spell check. The format of your resume should be very simple. Here are the most common sections to consider including in your resume. Header, work experience and qualifications, education, skills and awards, training and certificates. Deciding how to order these sections and what information to include will depend on whether you have a chronological resume or a functional resume. The chronological resume is more commonly used. It begins by listing your work history with the most recent positions listed first. For the chronological resume, place a header at the top. Then list your work experience and qualifications. Next, include your education, followed by any related skills and awards you possess. Then include any pertinent training or certificates you have. The functional or skill-based resume focuses on your relevant skills more than your work history. This template is used less frequently, but could be a good option when one of the following circumstances apply. 1. If you are an entry-level applicant, a recent college graduate, or have limited work experience. Or 2, if you would like to switch careers and want to emphasize transferable skills. Here's how you organize the functional resume. Keep a header at the top. Next, list out your skills, awards, training, and certifications that relate to the position you're applying to. After that, include your relevant work experience and qualifications in chronological order. For recent graduates with minimal work experience, place the education section at the top of your resume. If it's been a few years since you graduated and you have work experience, place the education section below the work experience section. If you are unsure which template to use, take a moment to identify your key strengths and experiences. You'll want to pick the template that highlights those strengths and will draw the reader's attention to your most valuable competencies. Now, let's briefly touch on references. We recommend not including references on your resume. This information takes up valuable space, and employers know they can ask for your references at any point in the interview process. Now that we've discussed how to format your resume, we'll move on to content. Keep in mind that we will use the chronological resume as a template, but this information can be applied to the functional resume template as well. Let's start at the top with the resume header. The first line should include your first and last name. On the next line, give the potential hirer an indication of your current city, state, and zip code if this accurately reflects the location where you're looking for a job. Otherwise, make it clear to potential employers where you're prepared to move. You can include your phone number on this line as well. Be sure to add a spacer, like a bar, in between these two items. For the next line of your header, include a professional email address and your LinkedIn profile URL. Once again, be sure to add a spacer, like a bar, in between these two items. We do not recommend including a photo of yourself on your resume, as smart technology often does not accurately parse resumes with an image. Instead, focus on keeping your LinkedIn profile professional and up to date. The work experience and qualifications section is arguably the most important part of your resume. Be sure to include the following: job title on its own line, company name and location, dates of employment, a few bullet points about the role. First, let's talk about job titles. For uncommon job titles, such as a happiness coach, include the title, but explain what the role actually means so the reader understands the associated skill set. If your previous job title was general, like nurse, use a more specific title like registered nurse, so smart technology will be able to better match you with roles that meet your skill set. Next, let's discuss your work experience bullet points. The number of bullet points you include per role will depend on a few variables. For your most recent and most relevant jobs, you'll want to include 4 to 5 bullet points outlining your individual contributions and accomplishments. For older jobs, you can consider narrowing the number of bullet points down to just 2 or 3, making sure to only focus on top achievements that are relevant to the job you're applying for. Some other important things to keep in mind while writing bullet points are relevancy, verbiage, and gaps. Depending on what's required in a particular role, you may want to consider customizing your resume to highlight your relevant experience, but be truthful. When it comes to verbiage, write current job descriptions in present tense. Write previous job descriptions in past tense. Always use strong action verbs such as oversaw, established, generated, and managed. Use proper grammar and omit idioms like push the envelope or outside of the box to avoid sounding vague. Instead, point to specific examples of accomplishments. If you're struggling to come up with content, there are plenty of resources on the internet that can help. For example, you can search job titles on websites such as ONET and Bureau of Labor Statistics to find common job descriptions and responsibilities. If you have a gap in employment longer than a few months, consider explaining why, and/or be prepared to explain the gap if asked during an interview. Next, we'll discuss the education section. When including your education, on the first line, put the name of the educational institution you attended and its location. On the second line, add the type of degree or qualification you received. If you graduated in the last few years, include the years you attended college, on line 3. If it's been several years since you graduated, omit the date. Also, if you are a recent graduate and you have specific academic achievements such as academic honors, scholarships, Dean's List honors, and cum laude status, you should list them on your resume in chronological order via bullet points. This segment will help you determine which skills, awards, trainings, and certifications to include on your resume. The Skills and Awards section should showcase unique abilities that make you a great fit for the job. For example, if you are applying to an office position, you might include your average typing WPM. Or if you are applying to a nonprofit, you might include an award for volunteer work. Likewise, the Training and Certification section should highlight any programs you have completed that make you an asset at your new job. For example, if you are applying to a sales position, you might list that you are licensed in Salesforce. Or if you are applying to a lifeguard, medical, or physical fitness job, you might list CPR as a relevant certification. Let's take a minute to review everything we just learned. Resume structure. Resumes should be 1 page max for entry to mid-level positions and 2 pages max for high-level positions. Stick to the following standard fonts: Arial, Helvetica, Times New Roman, Calibri, Cambria, Garamond, Serif, or sans serif. Font size should be 10 to 12 points. Font color should be black, and overall font should be consistent throughout the resume. Headers should be used to distinguish each section of the resume. Bullet points should be used to organize responsibilities and achievements in each section. Always proofread and spell check. Resume format. Your resume can have up to 6 basic sections: header, work experience and qualifications, education, skills and awards, training, and certifications. A chronological resume template is a good option if you graduated at least 12 months ago and if you have extensive work experience. A functional resume may be your best option if you are a recent graduate or if you have minimal work experience. The header section. The first line should include your first and last name. The second line should include your location and phone number. The last line should include a professional email address and your LinkedIn profile URL. Use a spacer, like a bar, to separate multiple items on one line. The work experience and qualifications section. Your job title should be on its own line. It should also be as specific as possible. The second line should include the company name and location. Include your dates of employment on the next line. Next, include a few bullet points about the role. Be professional and focus on relevant deliverables with positive company impact. Use the past tense for previous jobs and the present tense for your current job. Tailor your resume for the role you're applying to. If you have gaps in your employment history, consider including a brief, high-level explanation. The education section. The first line should show the name of the educational institution you attended and its location. The second line should show the type of degree or qualification you received. If you graduated in the last few years, include the years you attended college. Otherwise, omit the date. If you graduated with any specific academic achievements, list these next as bullet points. If you graduated in the last year or have minimal work experience, place your education section above your work experience section. Otherwise, place it underneath. The skills and awards and training and certifications sections. List any skills, awards, trainings, and certifications that would make you an asset at a new job. Congratulations! You now have all the information you need to make an effective and attention-grabbing resume. Ready to start your job search? Visit ZipRecruiter.com to upload your resume and find your next great opportunity today.